the founder of the Kids Right to Know nonprofit organization with a huge focus on environmental awareness. And from a very young age, Rachel has learned that GMOs are affecting the entire planet. She's been invited to speak to schools, universities, TEDx, magazines, you name it. And she's also been nominated as Toronto's Green Hero by Now magazine at only 14 years old. Isn't that incredible? She's been recognized for her ability to debate the dragon called Kevin O'Leary. Rachel Parent!
Companies like Monsanto are contaminating the world with chemicals and genetically modified crops while claiming to feed the hungry and protect our environment. But we all know this is just a PR tactic to divert attention from what's really happening. These companies use their power and political influence to persuade our governments to accept their untested and unregulated genetically modified crops. And then they force us to eat it because they don't label it. They even spend millions of dollars fighting GMO labeling. Our food is being contaminated, corrupted, and saturated with genetically modified crops, such as corn, canola, soy, and high fructose corn syrup. Genetically engineered crops have led to a massive increase of pesticide use, which is destroying our soil, corrupting our water, killing off our bees and butterflies. Yes, we are being bullied. Some of you may have seen my debate with Kevin O'Leary on the Lang & O'Leary Exchange Show a couple of months ago. During the debate, Kevin admitted that yes, we are part of a long-term experiment.
Rachel, we're in a long-term study. You're eating genetically modified food, whether you like it or not.
We're the lab rats.
And we have been for decades.
It's time to stand up for farmers and for seed freedom. It's time to stand up for our ecosystem and our bees and our butterflies. It is time to stand up for our future of food and for our health. It is time to stand up for our right to know and our freedom of choice.
Magazines, they're free magazines.
Vote with your wallet. Don't buy anything that contains corn, canola, soy, vegetable oil, or high fructose corn syrup. Then meet with an MP and demand independent studies and mandatory GMO labeling. If they are unaware of these issues, educate them. I'd like to challenge Rona Ambrose, Minister of Health, to have a discussion with me in Theory Brain on the issues of GMOs here in Canada. And God bless. Thank you.
Please help me welcome the Monkey Bunch!
Oh, it's so inspiring to see Rachel Parent speak.
We are the Monkey Bunch from Part 2. We thank you. Here's to the great afternoon. Here it is. Here it is.
Monsantos of the world are acting outside the law. The problem, frankly, is the law, the legal system, and the public policy framework within which major corporations accumulate more and more power.
We gotta have labeling so you can choose whether you want to be part of a feeding trial that's nationwide. Most of us don't, which is why the companies don't want the stuff labeled. They'd lose in the marketplace. So they've got to deceive you by having it hidden in the food. There's a significant battle line on the issue of genetically modified alfalfa. It poses huge risks to the organic and the non-GMO markets that are out there. And it's not something that even conventional farmers want. And certainly we don't want it, we don't need it, and we should be encouraging our politicians. There is a huge paradigm change happening across our culture and our society. The last point I'd like to make is today we're marching against Monsanto, and that's great. But you can be munching against Monsanto 3 times a day. With every meal you take, with every bite of food, if you want to munch against Monsanto, you can choose to eat for the environment. So it's not just being against something, you're eating for the environment.
Has the non-GMO label right on it.
It's a non-GMO company, Nature's Path. Wonderful
Sir, gentleman with the computer, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to move back. We have electrical cords here, Queen's Park regulations, also courtesy for the other press that is here. It would be better if you were over on this side, about 10 feet. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to ask you to move. To the other side.
Great. All right, I want to thank our incredible sponsors who've really helped out this. So many of the farmers. And you gotta put your hands together for Chef Chopra! Woo!
This is so common. If you didn't smoke so much, maybe you wouldn't be so crazy.
Number 1.
Crazy if you didn't smoke so much.
Number 1.
Thank you, Toronto. Thank you, the world. Today is the day where millions of people around the world are marching against Monsanto. Why only Monsanto? There are other companies making GMOs, making pesticides, giving hormones to cows, giving antibiotics to all food-producing animals. Why only Monsanto? Because Monsanto is the most evil of all these companies. And why is Monsanto so hell-bent to change the world? Somebody said that I have this book which I published after I was dismissed from Health Canada 10 years ago. I'm still in courts trying to get my job back. I'm not so sure, but I'm not giving up. It's a great inspiration to me when I come and see people. This is another deja vu, because 10 years ago, when I was dismissed, I was invited to tour British Columbia and Alberta to tell them the story of BGH and what else was happening. One day, I was taken to a Sunday fest in Powell River where people were buying organic food and eating and feeding to their children. I'm no musician, but I do sing a different song. It was at that moment when I looked at those couple of hundred people that the answer is not with Health Canada. The answer is not with the United States of government, the government of the United States or FDA or any government in the world, because they have all gone corrupt. That's why I call it corrupt to the core. It shows step by step what has happened in the world. On page 154 of this book, there's a quotation from an executive of Monsanto saying how they and a few companies are going to take over the world. This was their blueprint published here in 1990, and they called it intellectual property rights. In other words, patent seeds patent living organisms, patent fish, make it genetically modified. This is travesty. You cannot patent genes. You cannot patent DNA. You cannot patent God. You cannot patent nature. Monsanto damaged one of our illustrious farmers, Percy Schmeisser. He spent the government made him, the Supreme Court made him spend $500,000 defending himself for doing no wrong at all. Monsanto is still bullying the farmers and suing them for the same reasons. It has to stop. It can be stopped. When I was speaking like this in Powell River, and I saw people standing in front of me, I realized the answer lies with these people. Because when you say, I do not want this product, I am a child of God, I am a citizen of Canada, it is my divine right, it is my constitutional right to eat and feed to my family that nature makes, God if you like. And under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it's my choice and it's my freedom, it's my right to eat and feed my family what nature makes. Our Health Canada is party to this corruption. The United States Food and Drug Administration is party to this corruption, to feed these corporate parasites that they call intellectual property rights. I call them intellectual parasites. Our Prime Minister right now is going around pandering around the world to improve trade with Europe and Japan and South Korea and India and so on. Nobody is buying his talk. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to give thanks on this Thanksgiving to the extraordinary people who've put this march together. So thank you to Jennifer and to James and all to the incredible countless number of people volunteering today. Thank you. And up next, well, actually, I just want to make one more note. We are going to march after this. We're going to march loud and strong. Please, if you haven't already, ask about being a marshal at the very back of the big tree.
Now he is dying from it. They brought him like a diet, and now they have to
We're
wait.
going to march now. You're going to follow the giant tomato. We'll see you at that square.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. GMOs have got to go. Hey, hey. GMOs
peaceful protest here. October 12th, coming in live from Yonge and Dundas with Rachel Parent.
It's just such a huge issue, so we're creating awareness while we can, and Millions Against Monsanto was so great for organizing this event, and I had the pleasure to speak here today.
That's excellent. I've seen you a lot, and a lot of people know you actually from the O'Leary interview. How was that?
That was actually amazing, and I had so much fun at that debate. He was a lot of fun to deal with. So.
And mandatory GMO labeling, that's my thing. That way we can, as consumers, have informed decisions.
Well, there's two debates going on here. One, you want to see labeling. That's one thing. But are you against modifying food at all? Which one?
I know this sounds radical, but yes, I am against genetically modifying our food.
Rachel, I have a problem with that. That may be causing, or basically giving a death sentence to millions of people around the world.
What are the biggest companies right now that are genetically modifying our foods on planet Earth?
Well, definitely like Monsanto, Bayer, Syngenta, Pioneer, and DuPont.
Wow, that's very scary. There's a lot of money to be made from
My point of view is that no matter what kind of GMO it is, it should be labeled.
That's right. What other countries are labeling GMOs?
Right now, Canada and the U.S. are the only two industrialized nations in the world that don't require mandatory GMO labeling.
Do you do any growing at home?
Yeah, actually, I grow many different herbs and different foods. It's easier that way, and it's fresh and non-GMO.
That's excellent. Rachel, thank you very much for taking this time to speak with us today on Blue Skies Truth Radio.
For sure. Thank you so much.